Begin transmission.
This program is intended for mature audiences. Parental discretion is advised.
Hey guys, wasn't planning on doing this. I did it for you, Pope, because you asked. Hey, let's see who all's in the house tonight. Let's see, we got Pope. Good to see you. Got Susudio. Good to see you. Zazel from Sergeant Slaughterhouse came by to say, hey, what's going on? The ticket's here. OBS is here. All right. Good to see you. Good to see you, everybody. Glad everybody came on. Merry Christmas. Tomorrow for me is Christmas Day. I've got about 30 minutes until Christmas Day here at the Weird Fantastic House. I hope everybody's doing well. Give me a 5x5, Pope, if I sound good and look good. It's colder than a witch's tit down here in the Delta in Mississippi, and I've just been freezing my poor little butt off for the last few days. It was a little warmer today than it has been the last couple of days. We got down to 2 degrees. I've got the water shut off to the house so the pipes don't freeze and burst. So we're doing as well as we can down here with this kind of cold that we just ain't used to here in Mississippi. So Battle Gnome said that he was getting his camera set up. I don't see Battle Gnome in the house yet, but when he does, I'll try to get Battle Gnome on the show. Largo's sick. I don't expect him to show up, so everybody say a little prayer for Largo for me. Let's see. What are we talking about here in the chat? OBS says, I have a couple presents to wrap for my friend's kid. Don't know if I'm going to see them. No, we'll get those presents wrapped, girl. Sergeant Slaughter says she doesn't even know my name, but I think she loves me just the same. Susudio. Yeah. What is the elevation where you live? It is flat. Flat as far as the eye can see. The Delta alluvial plain was made flat by the Mississippi River when it flooded yearly before man came along and created levees and flood control reservoirs. OBS, he got out shopping with his mother-in-law and his in-laws about 2-3 days ago, and when he got home he had this awful cough, and that turned into a fever. And he was going to come on the show late with me when I had Mr. Home Arcade on with me the other day, and he bowed out. He said he had to get in the bed, so I haven't heard from him since, but I think he's doing better. Battle Gnome says he's having some tech issues. Okay. Battle Gnome, if you can get those tech issues worked out, it'd be great. Hey, Will, if you want to come on the show, man, I'm going to let you come on if you'd like. I'll give you an Instagram hit just here in a sec. OBS says I can rap and chat in between. Okay, good. And Zazel says it's already Christmas in Australia. Merry Christmas to you too, Zazel. And I hope you all have a wonderful day and you get everything that you want for Christmas. Freaking in-laws. And how's Rolo? As far as I know, Rolo's doing good. He was on earlier on Twitch doing his daily thing with building his dioramas for his toys, and probably had Marcos on doing stuff. they're doing that Resurrection Toy stuff over there, and they're doing great as far as I know. Take this off. There we go. Back to comments. Yeah, you missing Rolo. If Rolo sees me live, he may show up in here. You never know, but he may be in the bed already. I don't know. Bjorn Jorgensen's in the house. Hey, Bjorn, good to see you, man. Shambolics, man. Appreciate you coming in. When you say -9 degrees, you must mean Fahrenheit. Yes, it got down. It got down to really, 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 really cold the other day. And then yes, we're in Fahrenheit here. Infected Chris here in the house. Hey, Infected Chris, good to see you, man. Just a second, guys. I wanna get my link posted up here so that you guys can give me a tip if you want to. I got to go over to my dashboard. I got to get my YouTube studio going. So just give me a second while I try to get that going. And also, probably gonna make my stream get kind of slow here in a second because I got all this stuff loading up in my web browser here. Let's see. Infected Chris says, it's Christmas here on the East Coast. All right. Susudio says last night in Ohio it was 9 degrees. I woke up with sore throat. I heard about that. I hope you're doing better. And if you need to, you go get your butt in the bed and get some rest. It's -9 in Pennsylvania. Yeah, it got down. It got down into like -7 night before last, and that it doesn't get that cold down here, people. We're not used to it. Our homes are not designed for it, and it's really tough for us when it gets that cold. Ticket says orange juice and garlic. Okay. And right now, I've actually got the fire on down here in the junk room. I got a space heater over here beside me. Don't normally have that down here. And Wilhelm, I'm going to send you a message here in just a second to get you on if you would like to come on. Let me see here. I want to invite. And Battle Gnome, if you're still in the house and you would like to come on without Cam, I can always hook you up and let you come on with just your avatar, and that will work. Where are you at, Wilhelm Toy and Hobby? All right, Will McLaughlin, I sent you a message on Instagram so that you can come on and be with me if you want. Let me get my tipping link up so you guys can tip me if you'd like. I mean, I'm not begging or anything, but it sure would be nice to have a little bit of tips coming in. I know everybody probably sent JPR a lot of tips tonight, and I can understand if you're out of money and everything. Here we go. Universal Toy Hunter, how are you doing, sir? There is my tips. Let me get over here and gotta get my YouTube studio open. And while I'm getting all this done, let's let Elvis give us a Christmas message. We got a Christmas message from Elvis over here, I believe. If I left it up, did I leave that up? Did I take that down? Oh, I took it down. My bad. I should have left that up. Yeah, I took it down. Good grief. Well, no Christmas Elvis message from Elvis tonight. I was going to play that, but I can't. But I'm going to let my dashboard Oh yeah, the Elvis thing. Yeah, I had it on. I had it on StreamYard, and I was doing some housekeeping the other day. I didn't think I was going to stream again until after Christmas, so I had taken it off of there so it wasn't taking up some space. So it's not there. I was going to play that for you. Ticket's going to go roll a Canadian smoke. Well, I'm fixing to smoke a Winston Light cigarette. You know, Winston tastes good like a cigarette should. Master Versal Toy Hunter, also known as Eldor, says he's doing good here and having a quiet night. Bjorn Jorgensen said, "How long have you been going?" I just got started, Bjorn. I just got started, brother. I wasn't going to go on, but some of the guys from over at AOM wanted a little bit of an after party. So basically, it's on so that the AOM people can chat with each other still after JPR left the air. Play the Elvis Christmas song, or is it a copyright thing? No, OBS. It's not that it's a copyright thing. I can play it, but it's going to take me a minute to upload it, and it's going to cause some problems. But I'll do it. Just give me a second. I'm gonna look like crap for a minute while I get that uploaded. So give me a minute. I'll go ahead and get the Elvis thing up and let y'all watch it. Da 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 da. I gotta find it. Let's see, where did I put that? Right there. It's over here. Hey, there's Wilhelm. Let me get him in the chat. Hey, what's going on, Will?
Merry Christmas, Bill. How are you?
I'm doing great.
Is it Christmas by you yet? It is here. We're 37 minutes in.
No, I'm at 11:37. So you're on the
Okay.
East Coast. I'm in Central Time. So I'm fixing to upload a video, and it's going to cause me to go really wonky. So sing a Christmas carol, do something when I freeze, and let everybody know that I'm still alive, man. But
Okay.
they
Go ahead.
wanted to hear Elvis's Christmas.
Go for it.
Yeah,
Go for
they
it.
wanted to hear Elvis. I'm going to try to get Elvis up here.
Thank
So
you.
it'll take a minute for him to upload.
Right.
Here he goes. He's uploading. I don't know how long that's going to take, and I don't know what that's going to do to me while that's uploading. But we'll just try. How have you been doing? And are you
Good,
going to have a
good.
Merry Christmas?
I see a lot of friendly names there in the chats, the studio, and Bjorn's there, and Pope, and the ticket, and OBS, and Infected Chris.
Yeah,
Master
everybody
Toy
before AOM
Hunter.
decided to come over here. So Pope asked me to set up a live stream. He asked me if I was doing an after party. I said I would.
And I thought I saw Zazel on earlier. So
yeah. Zazel came on and said hello. I don't know if
Yeah.
he stuck around or not, but I did say hi back to him just a minute ago.
Yeah. And screw your feelings. Merry Christmas. Screw your feelings. I love that guy.
Let me get over here to the channel dashboard real quick. I was going to try to
sure.
pin that.
The Elvis, the one with the Masters of the Universe figure you did?
Yeah. I've got to. I'm uploading that as we speak. I'm going over here to my YouTube studio as well because I wanted to pin this comment that I put up there so people would know how to tip me if anybody just was feeling froggy tonight and wanted to give me a little bit of money for doing this for y'all. Let me see, where did I put that? It is right here, and now it is pinned to the top. So if you guys would like to give me a tip, you can. I can see the chat now while I'm trying to upload. Let's see. OBS was telling Susudio she's sick. She's got a sore throat. OBS was telling her to gargle with some warm salt water. Yeah, it got cold there.
Yeah.
And she ended up getting an earache and getting sick. So I hope she
It's
gets better.
terrible. Well, I hope you feel better. Yeah,
Have you heard anything from Largo? The last I heard from Largo, he'd done hit the bed with a fever.
yeah, he was in bed, but he's put some stuff up on Instagram, and I think we shared a couple Merry Christmas greetings back and forth. And I saw him in the live chat earlier or last night,
Okay.
maybe. He wasn't too active, but I think I've seen him popping up here and there. But yeah, I could tell. Especially I don't think he's been sick in a while too. It kind of knocks you, right
Yeah,
out.
it hits you pretty hard
I
sometimes.
gotta
That's
tell you, I
true.
mean, well, work was kind of miserable all last week, and then last night, as soon as I got out, I went Christmas shopping. I didn't get home until late last night, and
Hmm.
I pretty much slept all day today. You can probably tell. I mean, I went in and out, and I did some things, but got up for a few hours, took a long nap. But I was telling my wife, the only part of my body that doesn't hurt today is my left arm. It works great. Everything else, I'm like this. My shoulders sore, my arms sore. This leg, my knees are killing me. My shin, I've got this just like weird shooting pain in my shin constantly. I don't know what the hell that is. My back
How
hurts.
old are you? You're not that much. You're about the same age as I am. Will you shouldn't be hurting
Yeah.
like that? I mean, I can
Oh,
understand
it's
hurting. 'Cause I hurt
I
too, but
was
damn, man.
lifting heavy stuff all day, so it's muscle pain
Yeah.
mostly, muscle soreness. It's not because
Okay.
she felt the same way. I said, "No, I'm just sore," because it was a lot of people rushed us last minute. So, right
Ah,
after
wait a
we
minute. Battle Gnome says good news, bad news. Not a tech issue. It's a functional retardation issue. I think I left my broadcast gear in Westchester. So no broadcast gear means no getting on, I guess. Pope, it's a hard call to pinpoint a favorite cover, right? A lot. Okay, they're talking about the Ticket doing his music. I'm sure you've seen
yeah.
Ticket's
Oh
music
yeah,
before.
yeah, loved it. Yeah,
Ticket's
I had you
good at
on.
the
Had
music.
the AOM show on in the background there. Wasn't chatting much. I was charging my phone, but I
Yeah.
did try to pop in and wish everyone a Merry Christmas.
I think I saw
You know,
you pop in. I think I said hey back to you, but I never heard
yeah.
back from you. You probably missed the
My
comment.
dog had to go out right after that, and then
I
you know,
missed most of the
me
comments
around the
tonight
corner.
on AOM. I popped in and out because I was sitting there in the chair listening to the show mostly and kind of resting my eyes.
Yeah. What
So
about you? Do you have big plans for Christmas, family wise, or?
the actually we celebrated it today here at the house. My
Oh,
daughter got here Friday afternoon, and of course I had already shut the water off to the house by then. I had to go to the factory Christmas party where I work, and I didn't want everything to freeze while I was gone. And well, I'll tell you the story. It's a long story, but I'll tell it. All right, so it got down below zero here.
oh wow.
Yeah, it was Thursday night, and so I set the water to running. I didn't have it dripping. I had it running because I know what it's like down here when it gets that cold. So it's running out of the pipes, and I went in the bathroom to sit upon the throne, and I watched the water that was coming out of the bathtub faucet trickle to a stop, and I said,
That's scary stuff.
"Oh crap!" So I ran outside real quick and turned it off at the meter. What I found out is the town had a issue with the pump at the water tower, and we lost water pressure for a little bit, and that was just long enough for the water to stop running right. And so I went ahead and left it off. The pipes are empty. There's no water in them, and it's cut off at the meter. And until it gets above 32, I'm not cutting it back on. My hot water heater doesn't have any water in it, but
Yeah,
that's
wow.
okay.
That's pretty cold. I think it hit low 30s here last night and tonight, but it's no big deal. It's a welcome change for
They're
me.
calling this the vortex bomb or some shit like
Yeah,
the
yeah, whatever.
vortex
You know what?
bomb.
I saw that, and yeah, the bomb vortex, and I understand it exists, but it's like, can you just try to think of more dangerous sounding names for
Yeah,
ordinary winter
but
storms?
this shit doesn't
'Cause
happen
maybe
very often.
it,
You guys get a
yeah,
storm or blizzard. No, it's not a storm or blizzard. And luckily, the rain stopped before the temperature plummeted. So no ice storm, none of that stupid shit.
Yeah.
Uh, uh, Will, back in 1993,
Yeah. There was a blizzard of 93. I remember that. I was,
94. It was 19. My daughter was born in 93, in November 93. Well, in February of 1994, we got the worst ice storm that I've ever experienced in my life here in Mississippi. The ice built up so heavily on the power poles that they all snapped and fell to the ground, and everybody
damn.
was out of power for like 2 weeks. We had to get power crews from all over the United States to come in here to Mississippi and get us back rolling, and it was awful, and that's the worst I've ever seen it. It's the worst
Uh,
I've ever seen.
the ticket wrote, I bet the guys coming home from World War One wouldn't have called it a vortex bomb. They would have just called it mild. Yeah. I,
More than
you know,
likely, I thought
listen,
they
I
went through.
understand the news should give us, advice and, maybe, tell people not to be out there driving and stuff like that. Because there are people that will just try and go out, during everything. But it seems like they just tried to sensationalize it, make it more, fear monger even more than they, with these new creative names. Even down here in Florida, every year hurricanes get all these different names. It used to just be like storm, thunderstorm, tropical storm. Um,
Mhm.
now it's like a
Well,
tropical this and that. There's like
I've
10
got
tiers of it.
I've got a conspiracy theory on that, Will. Everybody, when you get a chance, I'm not telling you to go do it right now, but go get your damn insurance policy out and go look at the riders in that. I
Mhm.
bet you anything that if the storm is named, that they won't cover it.
Is that a true thing? I don't know. All I know is, I mean, when
Yeah,
I knew
yeah,
it was
that's
just
a true thing. A lot of insurance
yeah.
policies, home insurance policies, will not cover damage from a named storm.
So here in Florida, they have in the summer and spring and summer, there's thunderstorms every day. It's for a couple hours and then it gets sunny again. But at one point, one of the news channels, I forget which one, started keeping a counter up on like the corner of the screen with
Uh
how
huh.
many lightning strikes hit the ground, and I don't know where they're getting this data from. But I mean, that is just fear mongering. There's been lightning
Oh
strikes
yeah.
during
We
thunderstorms
used to call
in
it
Florida all the time.
when Channel 5 would get on, if there was the slightest chance, we're in Tornado Alley here. So if there was the slightest chance of a tornado, Channel 5 would break into broadcasting and go live and have the weatherman up there. And we used to call it, oh, here he goes. Dave Brown's having a weather
Yeah.
gasm on Channel 5. Oh, it's going to be a tornado.
But the lightning strike counter, I'm like, come on. Like they just put a fear meter and and just show us how scared should we be, because a lot of people fall for
Yeah.
that crap, you know.
Well, well, the news, the mainstream news, and even the local news, it's not about telling you the news. It's not about keeping you informed. It's all about ad revenue and entertainment and how many people that they can rope in to watch that shit. And
Yeah,
that's
yeah,
why, that's
definitely.
why,
Yeah.
you know, that, and that goes back way back because there
Oh
was even
yeah.
songs
They've been making
about,
jokes about that. I remember parody shows doing things like, could something in your living room be waiting to kill you? Tune in at 11. Well,
yeah, of course. I mean,
yeah,
that's what that's all about.
yeah.
I'm kind of keep an eye on the chat. I can't watch the chat here in the stream yard because I'm uploading something in it. But the
Oh yeah, I'll
Cecilia says
take a look and I'll see. Yeah, a lot
you're
of
on the
cross
road in a
chat.
level 3 winter storm alert, they will give you a ticket. Level 3 means emergency vehicles only.
Yeah.
And no, battle gnome, we're not going to eat bugs. I'm not eating the goddamn bugs. The closest thing I'm going to get to eating bugs is crawfish, and that's it,
What
Jack. Bugs.
do I even want to know? I probably don't want to know. But yeah, I mean,
Oh,
I understand giving like good advice. Stay off the roads, things like that. The storm will pass, and then they'll get the roads cleared and wait for that before you get out there, unless it's an emergency. But just calling it this or that or giving it a colorful name just to keep people tuned in. Um, or they say every storm is this phenomenon. We haven't seen anything like this in decades, or when we've
Well,
all
see,
been
all that's
alive.
a lie too, because
Yeah.
see, Bjorn was saying that he wasn't even born when the '94 ice storm in Mississippi, and they use that, Will, because the millennials and the Gen Zers haven't seen as much as we've seen, and we haven't seen nearly as much as the generation before us, the boomers, and then before them the silent ones, and then before them we still have some of the greatest ones still
It's the
alive.
storm of the century.
Yeah, it's never the storm of the century.
Next
Look,
up, water sweat.
yeah, exactly. I mean, the
Uh,
younger people have not seen the things, and so everything that they see that's like this that they've never seen before is new to them. But they
yeah,
don't realize that we've experienced this in the
yeah.
past.
Cold is
Even,
pretty dangerous, though. For some people that
yeah,
don't experience it often. So things like your pipes and things like that. You do have to. Um, it's a weird thing here in Florida. Well, I moved here from up north, so. But one of the first times we had a cold kind of snap during the winter, everyone was out there wrapping blankets and sheets around their shrubs outside. They do that by
right.
you? You ever see people doing that?
Wrapping blankets and sheets around what?
They're shrubs. They're shrubbery plants on
I've
their
never
front
seen them
lawn.
do that, but I have
Yeah,
seen people, I would suppose that would be if you've got
yeah, I
something
don't know.
that you don't want to
Yeah,
get too
I don't know.
cold,
It
but
doesn't get too. Yeah,
I
it
mean,
doesn't hit freezing too often here, but even when it does, it's only till
I
about
know I
10,
know
maybe
down there in
9 or
Florida
10
that
in the
it
morning.
can get down below freezing and kill the oranges, so the
Yeah,
orange crops don't.
sometimes I think it could do that, but by noon, it's you're taking. If you wear a jacket in the morning, by noon, you're back to a t-shirt. It's not even that bad. I don't like the cold though. I can tell you that.
Yeah, I'm not too partial to it either.
As far as
Uh,
this last 2 days where it's been in the 30s. Uh, yeah.
I'm going to do some more crazy crap in the middle of the night here, Will, if you'll
Yeah,
indulge
sure.
me. I've got a couple of things I want to download and try to share.
Yeah, do it, do it, do it. Looking here, and there's just a lot of people talking about the weather channels, and Jordan talking about how he wasn't born. Let's see. People do burlap. In fact, that Chris was saying thing here at the arboretum, and because it's a collection of plants. Yeah, I can understand that. They wrap them in burlap. But yeah, people all over the neighborhood going nuts. And then Pope wants us to eat bugs. And
No,
I
we're
think I
not eating bugs, Pope. When I told you that, we're not eating the damn bugs. Malone started that shit again, and you're picking it back up again. We're not eating the freaking bugs. I don't know if you know what that's about, but Bill
I
Gates
don't.
now
I don't.
they want us to that they want us plebes, us little people down here, to stop killing the planet by eating cows and the meat and the good things that we like to eat, and they want us to move over to eating bugs, and that's what's been pushed here in the latter part of this year.
So
But
are
eating
they?
bugs,
Is
I'm
it?
not
Is
eating
this
bugs.
like something where they're going to start like farms or something, and then what? Like
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
price
yeah.
price
Well, see, one of the things that we
prices out
do
of
know.
meat?
Well, one of the things that we do know that Bill Gates has been doing is he's been buying up all this farmland in mid America for some reason so that it can't be used. And that is so that people don't have any food and they can push the bugs on us. Well, fuck them. I ain't eating the bugs. I can go hunting, Jack. I live in Mississippi. I know how to hunt deer, Jack. And I'm not eating the damn bugs. I'll eat
Yeah, I haven't
deer.
heard
I'll eat
about
rabbits.
this.
I'll even eat a squirrel. And I know y'all think that's a redneck
Oh,
thing.
is
That
this
is
is
not. It's
well?
good.
Battle Gnome just said something. He said, "Do bugs fart?" And I don't know. I don't know if that's part of their digestion.
That's
Um,
getting to the CO2 issue. See, they
yeah,
want to eliminate cow farming because
bugs
the
are zero
cows
emissions,
all
and
the
they're saying
CO2.
cows. Yeah, cow farts make up a large portion um, of our
Global
CO2 in the
warming.
atmosphere.
All right, I've got one video clip added, and I've got another one that I just
What kind of
downloaded, and
bugs are
it's
they
gonna
talking about though? Are these just like big, like slug, like mealworms
cockroaches and shit
or
like
cockroaches?
grasshoppers and yeah, bugs,
Like juicy, delicious
insects.
bugs, or like cockroaches are
Bugs
like
are not
stringy. They
delicious,
got
Will.
shells. I know. I'm
Bugs
kidding.
are not
I'm messing
delicious.
with you.
No such thing as a delicious bug. Okay, so
I was just messing with you. There's no such thing as a juicy, delicious bug. Crickets,
ugh,
mealworms, mostly. Okay. All right.
mealworms, yeah,
Yeah.
gross. I'm not eating that
Oof.
shit.
Yeah. I don't know. They'll probably use some food coloring though and make them fun colors and flavors.
Oh yeah, well
Uh,
there was something on I watched one time where they had this funky chef coming out and he had this plate full of bugs. I think and the newscasters and everybody, all the woke people on the show eating the bugs.
yeah. Yeah.
Fuck you,
Yeah.
I ain't eating the
Oh.
damn bugs. Sorry.
Oh
Oh,
my
here we go.
God.
Breaking news, folks. Hold on, we got some breaking news here. Going to
Don't make unnecessary journeys. Don't take risks on treacherous roads. And don't swim in the sea. Incredibly, people have been spotted in the water here in Blackrock and Salt Hill both today and yesterday.
Is that studio? Merry Christmas. What is that?
You've never seen that before.
I've never seen that, but it sounds like they could just play that for every time there's any kind of weather phenomenon.
All right, have a good night, studio.
Yeah.
Oh yes, I guess hasn't seen that before either. That's been around for a while, but I thought that it was worth
Yeah.
showing.
I was gonna say, I mean, the bugs thing, they got to come up with a cool character. They've got to have fun colors, or do they go with trying to package it like meat, though? You know, they got to come up with a fun character to sell it.
No,
Eat the bugs, Bill.
I eat the goddamn bugs. Sorry, foul on pole nose. All right, I got Elvis up. If you guys, it's Christmas time. It's worth watching this one more time. All right, here we go, Will.
And now, here with a special Christmas message, the immortal Elvis.
A big old bowl of bug butter.
No, I'm not eating bugs. Ben Stutley came in. Hey, Ben, what's going on, man?
Hey, Ben, Merry Christmas.
Got up for a pee, and you guys are live. Merry Christmas. All right, man. And Michael Purvis in the house. Hey, man, what's going on?
Hi, Michael. Merry Christmas to you, sir.
Yes, that Christmas movie Elvis has been around a while. There was a comedy record or something that had that on it, and it went around radio stations for quite a while back when I was a younger person, and I remembered that, and so I looked on YouTube for it, and damn, somebody put it up there, and I grabbed the audio from it, and
I love it. It's great.
I got the Honky Tonk Man now. I modified Honky Tonk Man a little bit so that he looks a little more like Elvis.
There he is.
Yeah. See the belly on him there.
Uh-huh.
So I made him look a little more Elvis-like there for the video. That's right, OBS radio is fun, and Tiki thought, oh, that was me. No, that wasn't me. That was a comedy bit. Every time I play it on my channel, I get dinged for it by YouTube, so that's okay.
Who was that? Who was that?
I can't remember the guy's name, but they used to do. You remember back when comedy records used to be a thing.
I'm just curious to how soon, because he's like, oh, this is Elvis up in heaven.
Oh, it wasn't long. It was like I want to say like in the 90s, like in the mid 90s.
The studio said it's called Twisted Christmas.
Twisted Christmas. Okay.
Yeah. Back when radio was fun. Yep. And
Battle
Known
were all toy people.
Well,
Well,
I
most,
am.
most of the people on my channel are toy people,
Yeah.
but right now, a lot of the people that are in here are just AOM castaways that have come away from JPR ending his stream.
I was
Uh,
gonna send out a message and see if anyone.
Battle Gnome says he's pissed about his gear. Are you on a laptop? The laptop might have a camera and mic built into it that might be usable. I mean, I right now I'm using the mic that's on my laptop. Yeah,
I'm
you could
sending.
use your damn phone.
I'm sending
Uh,
someone a picture of this.
Pope says I'm not a toy collector, but the vintage toy collector community is such a cool group of people that I keep coming back. Yeah, well, actually, there is drama in the community every once in a while, but it doesn't carry over into the channels that I go to and the channels that and people that tend to come around here. So you don't have to worry about that. Ticket says his brother has a picture taken with Honky Tonk Man. He wrestled in a small town 2 towns over. Well, those guys used to have to get around because they didn't make a whole lot of money. And Balno says his computer's garbage. Well, is your phone garbage too? And Susudio did use her phone when she was on, and it did well for her. So you might want to try your
Yeah,
phone if you got a
the first
Android
couple of
phone.
times
Great.
I did it before I had it set up on computer, on my desktop. I used to just join through my phone most of the time too.
And Manny Plastic, that's Michael Purvis. He was talking about the WWE wrestling figures, the superstars. He hasn't found any in the stores near him, but Papa Shango and Mankind on clearance. So yeah, I've seen them in Walmart. Some of them tend to peg warm, and some of them are a little more popular. Jordan says he always uses his phone when he comes on the show. Yeah. And Ticket says he has a Jake the Snake thumb wrestler. That's cool. Hey, I wished
I remember
bought that
those
damn
thumb
Jake the
wrestlers.
Snake.
Yeah, those were pretty cool, right? You put them on there, and
Yeah.
those are fun.
But
I like that. There was a lot more
Jake,
variety in toys
Yeah.
back then. They had the thumb wrestlers. They had the Rock'em Sock'em robots. Things you
I've got
could
a
actually get out there.
robots in yonder. It's not a vintage or anything. It's one that my daughter had when she was a little child. Because
It wasn't just action figures. It wasn't just
Yeah.
What movie is this from, or this or that, or as we live in the
you
age
may
of the
you're about the same age as I am. You may remember a time in the 70s when there wasn't a lot of toys themed around TV shows or movies or cartoons. As a matter of fact, most of the cartoons that we watched on Saturday morning did not have action figures associated with them because it was almost against the law to do that.
yeah.
It wasn't until they relaxed the laws that they were able to do He-Man and G.I. Joe cartoons that were basically
That's pretty much when I started with the
half
toys.
an
I had
hour.
some, here and there things, but I wasn't really following anything. In the 70s, I was born in 75. So, 70s, I was watching reruns of the Batman 66 show, whatever cartoons were on, Scooby Doo and Wacky Races and all that Hanna-Barbera stuff and things like that. It probably wasn't until 81, I guess, when, the cartoon that supported the toy line started. I was probably 5 or 6 when that happened.
But there was a law against basically having half an hour commercials for toys disguised as cartoon shows, and that kind of got took to the side. And basically now the He-Man cartoon, G.I. Joe cartoons, they were good cartoons. There wasn't anything wrong with them, but they were pushing toys.
Oh, definitely, definitely. And I think GI Joe is one of the first ones where they made the deal with Marvel Comics,
Yeah,
and they start the comic, and then they would run like animated commercials for the comic,
they did. They
which
did.
wasn't
That was their
technically
part.
running it for the toys, but they would the comic was basically a commercial for the toys. So
Well, it
it all
was,
worked.
but
Yeah.
Larry Hama's writing was absolutely wonderful. You know, he started
Mhm.
out writing the file cards on the back as well.
So Studio said she hung in there to see Elvis. So there you
Yeah,
go.
yeah,
And then yeah, Reagan was the one that deregulated the cartoons.
and
Dastardly. Oh
Ticket
yeah,
says
Muttley.
now that law ruined Saturday morning cartoon. Well, it did, but it wasn't necessarily the main factor. The main factor in the demise of Saturday morning cartoons was the rise of cable television and the ability to have channels like Cartoon Network devoted solely to cartoons. Used to, the only way us kids could watch cartoons was on Saturday morning for a short period of time. After the farm report and until about noon was kid time for cartoons, and after that, Daddy would turn the wrestling on, and we would watch the wrestling, and then in the
Yeah, it would
afternoon,
go. It would go cartoons, wrestling, and then they would replay some like creature feature movies or just some
uh,
kind of old
Tarzan
movie,
movies.
like
I remember Tarzan.
yeah,
He was,
Tarzan movies or some
yeah,
old Godzilla stuff. They would cycle through them. But yeah, then I remember cartoons coming on after school. They had the after school specials, and
well,
from like 3 to 5, you'd get that, and then you'd go into reruns of Three's Company and Facts of Life, Different Strokes, and all those shows.
yeah. Uh, OBS is bringing back some good memories. Now she
Yeah.
brings up a good point. That they show the GI Joe on the YouTubes all the time. Thank you, Pope. I appreciate the donation there, brother. Thank you. Um, but with the ability to show our cartoon shows on YouTube and He Man, they're showing all the 2000X He Man. They're all over there on the Mattel site on YouTube. You got sites that show all the GI Joe cartoons. You got sites that are showing all these cartoons on YouTube. That's going to be the demise of Cartoon Network, I think, because now you have the ability to stream any cartoon show you want on demand for free right here on YouTube. Why have the Cartoon Network showing that stuff?
hmm I kind of, that's something that in today's day and age, though, even with like digital cable, when it kind of took over for the old analog, I used to like just flipping through channels, and that kind of went away. With like digital cable, you had to go on the menu and like click on the show you want to watch, and like if you flip through channels, there'd be like this pause, and then like the channel would load. So it wasn't as remember you could just flip and just go right through channels, and it was kind of fun. And then you'd sit on something for a couple minutes, and you didn't necessarily have to search something out. You were kind of just channel surfing, and
Well,
I think
the
that's something that's
studio, the
like
studio, the
lost.
studio's answering a question for you here. Bob
Oh,
Rivers is the name of the artist that did the Elvis bit. Bob Rivers.
okay. And they did a. They also did. She said. What was it? The
Three
Crypt Keeper
volumes.
Christmas. Crypt Keeper
Keeper
Christmas.
Christmas. That sounds like it will be a hoot. Battle Gnome says he remembers when Color Funny Papers were in the Sunday edition.
Oh
Have they
yeah,
stopped
definitely.
doing that? I thought they were still doing that, but I haven't looked at a newspaper in years. Ticket said, really appreciated narration and comics you've done. Yeah, and I want to get back to doing that, but I just don't have time to actually cut them together. I wish I had more time to do stuff like that. Yeah, they're doing it. He-Man Ben Stutley says, night all, have a great day, each and every one of you. Thank you, Ben, for coming in
Oh,
and checking us out for a minute.
then Merry
Appreciate it.
Christmas.
And OBS says Cartoon Networks is woke. They show garbage now. Well, that she ain't wrong. She's
Yeah,
not wrong.
seriously. They were so, back then they were so, we had to have the lessons after every show, the morality lessons and things like that. And it seems like they've done the opposite now. Yeah.
Screw Your Feelings says, I wish they would make new G.I. Joe series. Lost faith in Transformers from Paramount. Cannot watch it.
Yeah, they do. And, I think there's been this like, kind of, they don't like promoting like a military, team or something like that, or I don't know. They don't want to get behind that because
And,
everything's got
and
to be
ticket
some
ticket
weird.
says 6 out of 7 days my keyboard is out of reach, so I'm at the mercy of the YouTube algorithm. This kind of feels like channel surfing. I just
Sure.
keeping hitting the refresh button if I don't like what I see. What I finally decided, you decided to take a toke off of that thing that you smoked.
No,
on.
no, no, no. I'm still listening. I'm just doing something else.
But what I've found is there are certain channels that I enjoy watching more than others, and I subscribe to those channels, and instead of letting the algorithm tell me what it wants me to watch, because it's not telling me what I want to watch by any damn means, I just go over to those channels and see if they post anything new, and if they have, I'll watch it. And so
Yeah,
Studios,
I've spent a lot of time kind of. I used to just hit subscribe on a lot of channels, and I had a lot of
uh,
channels.
and
Uh,
Battle Gnome says comic strips are probably full, inclusive, and woke too. I don't know. I haven't looked at a comic strip in the newspaper in years. One of the things that I miss most about the newspaper page comics were the adventure strips, like the Phantom and Mandrake the Magician, Flash Gordon. The last great artist on Flash Gordon, writer artist on Flash Gordon, was Jim Keefe, and King Features kind of let him go back in the late 90s, and all they've done since then is just rerun his Flash Gordon strips over and over and over again in the newspaper. So I mean, all that stuff is gone. And the
yeah,
Phantom, there's a company called Frew that makes Phantom comics overseas. Well, they just adapt those stories and put them in the newspaper now, so they don't have to have a dedicated artist team or a bullpen there doing comics at these media companies anymore. So, like King Features.
it's just so silly because there's one. Um, I don't know. It just it just seems like even back then. I mean, the way they handled the warfare. You know what I mean? In the GI Joe cartoon was a little ridiculous. We used to laugh at it.
Well,
Just
yeah,
knowing,
they were shooting lasers out of
yeah,
M16 rifles. You know,
and
that's
you'd see a helicopter explode, and then you'd see a
there'll be a
parachute.
parachute
They
coming out.
always show a parachute. Yeah, slowly
Well,
going down.
that wasn't anything new. Back in the late 70s oh god, I just had a brain fart. Flash Gordon cartoons were on Saturday morning. They were done by Filmation. They weren't allowed to shoot characters with their guns, so but they could shoot robots. So Ming had lots of robot minions so that Flash Gordon could kill as many of those as he
Yeah.
wanted
Well,
without
even
actually
like
killing them.
Teenage Ninja Turtles, right? They did that with the Foot Clan. They made them all robotic soldiers, so the turtles could go in there and beat them up. That was a little later. Uh, Transformers was funny because it's just robots, like
But
they're not.
He-Man was never allowed to actually hit Skeletor with his fist or actually use
Yeah,
his axe or his sword on him. If they did fight, it was usually a wrestling match where they would throw somebody over onto the ground. But Skeletor had those little garbage can looking hovering robots. You know, he could kill as many of those as he wanted.
yeah, and
I
I kind of
got some trivia for you, Will.
yeah.
You remember Skeletor's
About that.
little hovering garbage can robots? You remember those little hover bots? I guess they call them. They didn't first appear on He-Man cartoons. You know where they first appeared?
So that was like reused cell animation cells from.
Yes, it was.
I'm gonna try and say it's got to be like a sci-fi series. Like, did they ever do like a Flash Gordon sci-fi or something like
They
that?
weren't on
Or
Flash Gordon. They weren't on Flash
no,
Gordon, but they were on a cartoon show that
Star
Filmation
Trek?
did. No.
Was it the same company? No.
Oh, it's Filmation. Yes, it was. It
It
was
was.
Filmation.
Oh, okay.
It's gonna blow your mind. It's gonna blow your
Yeah,
mind when I
I
tell you
can't
where
think
they
of it.
first appeared at.
What,
They first appeared in Filmation's cartoon of Tarzan, the Lord of the Jungle.
Tarzan had robots.
Yes. No. Well,
Floating robots?
what
Really?
happened was a spaceship landed in the jungle,
Oh,
and
okay.
the space aliens were basically trapping the jungle animals, I guess, to study them or carry them back to their planet. And Tarzan had to stop them from doing that. And they had those hoverbots on the spaceship for Tarzan to destroy. And they reused those hoverbots for Skeletor's minions in He-Man.
That is pretty hilarious. And I mean, I get it. I get why, because it was very expensive and very time consuming. So they would reuse, cells all the time.
Oh, yeah. And Ticket says He-Man never needed to hit Skeletor or hit him with the sword. Well, I don't know if you guys have seen this guy or not, but Mr. Home Arcade's been remaking the old He-Man commercials. And Skeletor is a bitch over there, and he never fights He-Man directly. He always sends his minions to go over there and let drunk He-Man kill him. Have you seen those things, Will?
Good night, Bjorn. Merry Christmas. I was out shopping yesterday, and then we were wrapping presents and everything after that. So I tuned in. I think I said hi just for a minute there. And there was one playing with Mechanic and He-Man. And then I subscribed to him, obviously, and I've seen some of his thumbnails, and they're pretty ridiculous. So I'm gonna definitely check some of those out.
All right, I don't know if this is me. I just paused there for a minute, so I didn't hear what you said. You subscribed to
I was just saying.
Arcade?
Yeah, I subscribed to him. I haven't watched all of them yet, but it's been a pretty busy weekend. But yeah, definitely something I'm gonna try and check out as soon as I can.
It's like, whoa, I never realized Tarzan was so cool. Yes. Okay. All right. Tarzan is really not Tarzan.
You're freezing up. I don't know if are you still downloading something?
And all right. Am I back? Can you hear me?
Yeah, I just heard you now. Yeah, you were frozen up for a second there. I don't know if you're still running stuff in the background.
Yeah, my internet connection is down to like 1 bar. Right? Anyway, I'm going to kill a cam over here, so we're not going to run the toy cam anyway. Get that out of the way. That may help a little bit. Kill a few things that I have open here, and that may help things just a little bit. And we'll see if that helps. All right. I was answering Michael Purvis about Tarzan and the Ticket. Edgar Rice Burroughs' original Tarzan novels are where it's all at. Those novels were great. And start with the very first one, Tarzan the Ape Man. And as you go through there, a lot of things happen in there. Tarzan is very articulate. Okay, when he was when by the time he finally saw his first white man, okay, in the jungle of Africa, he had already found the cabin of his father, found the books in there, taught himself how to read. Taught himself how to read, so he could read English. Couldn't speak it yet, but he could read English. All right. And when Jane Porter and her father, Professor Porter, were stranded there on the beach by the pirates who had taken over their ship. All right.
This is from the cartoon or the book?
No, this is from the original novel, my friend. Okay. All right, so they were rescued eventually by the French Navy, and there was a lieutenant there on that ship that rescued them named Lieutenant Paul Darnot. Okay, and Paul Darnot was captured by the cannibals and carried off to their camp to be eaten, and they couldn't find him, and so they said, well, he's gone. We're not going to be able to save him, but we can save everybody else. And so they loaded them all up on the French naval ship, and they sailed away. And Tarzan went and rescued Lieutenant Darnot from the cannibals and brought him back to the cabin on the beach that his father had built years before. And he and Darno lived together. Darno was suffering from his wounds, and he got the fever, and Tarzan
Yeah.
had to nurse him back to
It's
health. And
really
when
funny
he
that you
did,
bring
now
this
listen,
up.
when he did, Darno taught him how to speak. But the first language that Lord Greystoke learned to speak was not English; it was French. So for the rest of
Yeah.
his life, he spoke with a slight French accent. See, this is shit you don't know unless you
Yeah.
read the novels.
Did you like the Legend of Greystoke, the
I
movie?
did, and the
I
first part of
just
that was very accurate.
I
The
just
second
watched it
part was
like
not.
2
Okay,
days
all the parts
ago.
of
I
the
was trying
jungle.
to go to sleep, and I put something on, and it was one of the suggested things. So I just put it on. I wound up watching the whole movie and staying up a lot later than I wanted to. But
Now,
the
are you talking about
costume,
the Christopher Lambert movie, or are you
yeah,
talking about the
yeah,
latest one, like the Christopher Lambert movie?
yeah.
Very accurate in the first part. All the jungle part, that's pretty much accurate to the book to a certain point. All the shit after he comes back to England, that's not in the book at all. That's all
Okay,
added. But the book goes is better. All right, why doesn't Tarzan have a beard? Because Tarzan, as a young child, before he reached puberty and started growing hair on his face, had already discovered his father's cabin and had already discovered the books that were there. And the only book that he could not read in there after he learned to read was the one that was written by his father. His father's diary was written in French, so he never learned how to read French, but he could read English. Okay, so that's, he finally found out who he was when Darno read his father's diary out to him. But anyway, back to that. What happened was, as a child, he would look in these books. They were picture books because his mother was pregnant when his father was stationed in the Congo, and they had to move down there. And so she brought all these children's books with her so that she could teach the baby to read while he was growing up down there in the colonies. So Tarzan discovers these books, and they're picture books, and the picture books, the ABC books and all that. Well, the letters of the alphabet that he saw in the book, in his mind, he thought of them as bugs, these little bugs that are all over the pages of these books. But then he discovered that certain little bugs would always appear on certain pages under certain pictures. And he had a very intelligent mind. He put this together to the point to where these bugs began to have meanings to him, and he learned how to decipher what the bugs meant on the page, being the writing of the English. Okay,
yeah, yeah.
so he had already discerned that he wasn't a great ape. He had already discovered that he discerned that he was a Tarmangani. Okay, Tar meaning white, Mangani meaning ape. Okay, Tarzan, that was his name given to his by his mother. Tar, white, Zan, skin. The Mangani had their own language. Okay, and so Tarzan discovered that he was not a Mangani, he was a Tarmangani. And so he did not want to look like the apes. He did not want to have hair on his face or on his body. And so when he found his father's knife, that huge Bowie knife that he always carried on his side, and he learned how to use that by fighting Bolgani the gorilla. See, gorillas and Mangani are two different things. The Mangani are a great ape species that was created by Burroughs in his mind, a fictional species of ape that is a little more advanced than the gorilla. So he was attacked by Bolgani the gorilla, and he just had the knife in his hand. Excuse me. And he used the knife to kill Bolgani the gorilla. And that was the first time that he had used a weapon in order to make himself an equal to the to something that was stronger than he. And he was just a kid when he did that, probably a teenager. All right. He figured out how to hone the blade on the knife using rocks, and he would shave the hair off of his face so he would not look like a gorilla or a Mangani ape, because he knew he wasn't. He was a man. And that's why he didn't have a beard.
I don't know.
I guess Bill liked. Yes, Tarzan was one of the first things as a young man that my father got me to reading the novels. So I was well aware that Tarzan was like a superhero. Okay, and
Oh, definitely. Yeah.
if you really want to get into it now, Philip Jose Farmer, and I don't know if you know who he is. He wrote a book called Tarzan Alive, and Tarzan Alive places Tarzan, Lord Greystoke, John Clayton directly into the Wall Newton family. The Wall Newton family in Philip Jose Farmer's mind, he has taken all of the pulp heroes,
Okay.
superheroes, and placed them into a universe that crosses over together. And the way he has described why these people were great and why they were greater than people around them was because of family. The Walls and the Newtons were in a carriage riding along in England when a comet shot by, and they were exposed to this radiation that mutated their minds and their bodies and made them greater. And the generations of the Wall Newton family that came down got these powers as a result of that mutation. And so Tarzan is directly in the Wall Newton family. So that's one of the reasons why that he was able to do the things that he did, like teach himself how to read, be that smart.
Yeah. 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 I see. So Pope was saying Disney didn't teach me any of this.
Of course not.
And
Disney
then,
didn't teach
yeah.
you. Disney dumbed it all
And
the
then
fuck
you're
down.
saying, I like Bill's version better. Didn't the Disney version have a little ape friend voiced by Rosie O'Donnell?
Yes, Turok, I believe was okay. Let me explain. No, not Turok. Let me explain something. In the book, that character was Tarzan's enemy, and he ended up having to kill him.
Uh,
Yeah, always radiation. Maybe we would okay be a nuke. Well, I'm afraid that radiation doesn't do
yeah.
the cool things that it did, like the Incredible Hulk and all that.
Yeah.
But
Unfortunately,
it's one way of explanation, I guess. Bic had already established a franchise on the African continent at this time and market penetration in the sub-Nile interior. Okay. And OBS says, I want to be an X-Man mutant. You're not? Okay. All right. Yeah, that was my little foray into a little bit of Tarzan history. But yes,
So,
now, I went through all of that. I went through all that to actually get somewhere, and I went around my
and
elbow.
the ticket, I think, said it. He said, "Where do the robots come in?" Because we were talking about the robots.
All right. Well, I got into all the Tarzan stuff because the greatest interpretation of Burroughs's original intention for Tarzan was the Filmation cartoon show that came out in the late 70s. He pretty much was an articulate person in that it wasn't no me Tarzan, you Jane crap in that. As a matter of fact, Jane only shows up once in that, and it was a loose adaptation of how he first met her in the books. But yes, there were sci-fi elements that were included in Burroughs' stories. He found lost continents there in the jungle. He would not lost continent, but lost civilizations. There were some civilizations that were a little more advanced than others. But this carried over in the cartoon. Now, in the third series of those cartoons, the cartoons went from half an hour to 15 minutes because they were part of Tarzan and the Super 7. And the 15-minute cartoons were quick, and they had to come up with stories quickly that weren't necessarily adaptations of stuff out of the books. And that's where the space aliens landing in the jungle and Tarzan having to come stop them from stealing the animals came from, and the robots were in there.
Just a note to you, Bill. Definitely, there's not many. I know there's not much toy stuff that backs this up, but you've got an encyclopedic knowledge here of Tarzan and the stories. But they could be good ideas for videos coming up next year.
Oh, well, certainly.
Maybe do some of the lore. You know how you did the mini comics?
Yeah, do Tarzan that way. Well, I
Yeah.
do a novel at a time. Maybe I have all of Burris's written Tarzan novels. Plus, I have the a couple of novels that were that Burris's estate allowed Philip Jose Farmer to write. Okay.
Yeah.
I also have all of Burris's John Carter of Mars books.
I know Largo has some of the toys that were made from some of the pulp heroes and things like that. So yeah,
I hope not, Pope. Battle
oh
Gnome. I
god,
hope not. And Pope says Bill has Rain Man knowledge when it comes to this.
definitely Tarzan.
Tarzan. I gotta watch Tarzan.
Tarzan
Gotta watch
Shade,
Tarzan.
3 o'clock every day.
Gotta watch
Watch
Tarzan. I'm Rain Man now. See, I gotta watch Tarzan. I gotta watch Tarzan. No, I'm not that bad, but yeah,
No, I know. No, but I think it could be a nice, like a themed discussion, like a nice, because this is really interesting. I mean, I'm really enjoying it. Um, I don't know.
Yeah,
Uh,
Battle has a quick wit about him. That's one of
yes,
the
he
reasons why
does.
JPR likes him so much.
But
I
and
wish
I'm
I
sure.
wish I could catch them on I guess it's Tuesday when Battle Gnome and Adam from the Helgramites are all on there with JPR at the same time. That's funny as hell.
Yeah.
I don't ever get to catch that because they always come on at 8 o'clock after I'm sound
It
asleep.
could be a thing, or you could do a discussion with just pulp heroes in general, just kind of that
Well,
whole
I
shared
could,
universe.
and
Yeah.
I'd like to. All this stuff is stuff I would like to do.
Oh, and
But
Knows a ton about this stuff too. We've talked about the pulp heroes and stuff, and
yeah,
he goes
and
into it. Maybe
and the
not as much
shadow,
knowledge as you.
the shadow.
Yeah.
Everybody remembers the radio show. You
Hmm.
know, the shadow knows. But you go back to those old pulp books and pulp magazines. The shadow was a much more fleshed out character than he ever was on that radio show.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, I love some of those, man. I years ago I bought like a thing on. They had like audio books of like all the pulp heroes.
Uh-huh.
So I got a whole bunch of them where it was like you got like it was like one token or whatever it was on Audible. I used to drive a lot, so I would listen to
Yeah.
audiobooks. And you got like 78 pulp hero books on audio tape, and it was just I mean tons of them, you know. So I was listening to
And you know,
old
I'm
Conan
sure,
stories,
I'm
John
sure that
McCain.
if you know how to sail a ship on the internet, that you could possibly be able to find all of this stuff on to
Oh
read.
yeah.
But the thing is, you know, back when I was growing up, I had access to some of this stuff because my dad had it before he died.
Hmm.
The Tarzan novels, for example, he made sure that I got exposed to that. And that led me to want to find out more and more and more about these characters. One of the greatest characters, and I've got a few of those novels because I found a collection of them that was for sale for cheap, like 25 cents a piece, cheap paperback novels of Doc Savage.
Yeah. Yeah.
Doc Savage was was a prototype for Superman. Don't think he wasn't.
Well,
Doc Savage had a Fortress of Solitude long before Superman had one.
what I was going to say too is in revisiting a lot of these pulp stories, I realized more and more that even a lot of the pop culture from when we were young was taken from this. You know, and this stuff's almost 100 years old now. You know, a lot of these stories were written in the 1920s, 30s, some of them even earlier than that. But when those pulp magazines really became very popular, was um, many generations before us, and they recycled stories too, and they went back and there was themes and things like that. But a lot of that stuff is, um, you know, uh, it's all been done. None of this stuff's original. So when people say, but I feel like those stories.
Well, here's the thing. Paul said this back in when in the Bible. Okay, he wrote this. and I can't tell you what book of the Bible it's in. I can't tell you the scripture and all that, but it's in there. You can find it. There's nothing new under the sun. All of the stories that we read, the ones that have endured through time, all follow the same tropes. They have the same plot, the hero's journey in it. If you want to know how to write a story that will become a great story that people will read or watch over and over again, make sure you find out what the hero's journey is, because the hero must go on the hero's journey. And when he goes on the hero's journey, people will read it. It all started with Beowulf, Gilgamesh. Every damn one of them went on the hero's journey long before anything that we wrote in the 20s and 30s and the 70s and the 80s and the 2000s ever came along.
Yep.
It's all
And to answer Pope's question, Razor Fist videos. Yeah, I love Razor Fist. Have you ever seen his videos, Bill? Actually, I think I found him when I was looking up stuff about Solomon Kane. And I think Razor Fist.
Solomon Kane the Puritan. Now we're talking about Robert E. Howard now, Conan, Kroll the Conqueror, and Solomon Kane the Puritan. They made an awful movie about Solomon Kane the Puritan. Please steer clear of that all the way.
I've watched it. I've seen that movie. I was so excited too, though. When I
was too. I was like, "Oh man, they're doing it! They're doing it! They're doing it!" I watched it. I'm like, "Oh no, they ruined it! I can't."
They really didn't capture the. They say The Witcher's kind of like a Solomon Kane, but
I never got into The Witcher. Isn't that based on a video game? First of all, second of all,
it is, but it's based on novels that were written, and I think they're influenced by him. He's more of a magic user, but the Solomon Kane, I think OBS liked the actor that played Solomon Kane.
More than likely,
if they called the movie something else.
In OBS's defense, okay. If she's never read the Solomon Kane novels or read the comic adaptations of them that were done by Marvel Comics and Roy Thomas, and she's never experienced that, then perhaps that movie may have been entertaining to her.
I got it. OBS said, "Hell yeah, he was hot." It's like a lot of these movies where, like, if they didn't call it when they adapt a property, if they're just going to go off and do whatever they want, they should.
Well, why don't they call it something else? Yeah, no, because they're trying to bank on the name. They're attracting you and I to go and watch it, and of course we waste an hour of our life by going over there that we'll never get back again.
It was kind of like that
they made their money off of us.
Snake Eyes movie that had nothing to do with Snake Eyes.
Oh my God! And first of all, Snake Eyes' face was disfigured to the point where he had to wear that mask because he looked so horribly disfigured.
No, but why do they do that though? They just take the name to get people in the door, and then it's just a switcheroo.
Because that's the way you make money nowadays. And the other thing is, why do superheroes not wear their masks in the movies for most of the movie? Because you have to see the actor's face.
Can we talk about this? Can we talk about the stupid mask that retracts and disintegrates into their collar or whatever it is? I hate that. It's so annoying. And they're like nanobots. That explains it. Just nanobots. Or the guy has to take his mask off every time he talks to someone. That was one good thing about the Mandalorian when they were like, he doesn't take his helmet off. I was like, thank God, because
he doesn't take his helmet off until he does take his helmet off.
Yeah, of course not. But just leave the damn helmet on. You're a superhero. We know
but they can't do that. First of all, that's like Iron Man.
Yeah,
they had to show Tony Stark's face
because I didn't mind when
Robert E. Downey has to have his face on the screen. It's part of his contract.
I didn't mind when it flipped up and he would, talk.
Or they would show, or they would show what you imagined he looked like under the mask. He's wearing the mask, but we can see
it's all Stark Tech, bro.
Yeah,
but I hate that shit though. They do it on everyone.
Any mass superhero movie that you see, the mask is going to be off the hero's face most of the time in the movie because you have to. That's why Batman's got eyes. Michael Keaton, they had to show his eyes in order for you to get the emotion from the character. But we know in our hearts that Batman got blanks for eyes. You can't see anything but white in there. But that doesn't carry over well to, I guess, a movie will.
Pope saying that Critical Drinker did a video exactly what I'm talking about. Good, because it just annoys the shit out of me. But I don't have the talent or the the chops to articulate it in a way that's entertaining for people. So I think I should go check out the Critical Drinker.
Chronicles of Riddick. Okay, Obi is talking about the Chronicles of Riddick here, which is also based upon some novels, which I haven't read.
Is it really? Okay, no, I didn't know it was based on a novel. I never read it. I will say that first movie, Pitch Black, I think it was called, surprised me because so I remember going to see that with some coworkers. I think it was one of the first times I went out socially, like with my wife too. It was that long ago, or we might have been together. I don't know, but I actually didn't have any expectations for the movie because I knew nothing about it. We were just going to go out, and I was really more going just to hang out with her. And I was kind of surprised. Like, I was pleasantly surprised. I didn't know who Vin Diesel was. I didn't know who, really any of the actors were, except the guy that plays he was in They Live with Rowdy Piper. What's his name? I can't think of it. And he was also the stepdad in Something About Mary.
I know who you're talking about.
You know the guy I'm talking about, right?
Now that you put me on the spot, I can't name him. You know how that goes when you get to be our age. Or what do they call it, Alzheimer's?
But yeah, he's a good actor. Anyway, I was pleasantly surprised because it was like kind of a low budget, no named. They did the animated version. In the game, they did a video game back when like the PS3 was new, and I think my kids had it.
Keith, thank you,
David Keith. He's awesome. I love David Keith. Yeah, good actor. But yeah, then I think that one where I think Vin Diesel wrote the sequel and like produced it and directed it or something, and
that wasn't very good.
That one wasn't that good, and then they did a third one, but I don't remember it. But I think the animated version and the video game were pretty good
sequels. That's the law of sequels. The first movie is good. The second movie they try to redo the first movie again, and it's not nearly as good, but it makes a little money. And the third
I haven't gone back and like rewatched it, so sometimes you have a good movie viewing experience in the theater, and some of that has to do with the people you're with, or that event, and you don't want to ruin it by going and watching it.
Well, the only time sequels actually work are if it's a multi-part story and it's being split across movies. That works. Or if you're interpreting a novel series or something like that, and each novel becomes a movie, like Harry Potter, for instance. But a lot of times, movies are basically a story. Once the story's told, it's over. So now when it's sequel time, we go back and we farm all the material.
Leave on a high note. Leave them wanting more. Sometimes it's except for Terminator 2. Terminator 2 was awesome. Pope is
That's correct, Pope. I agree with you altogether.
They should have left it on a high point and left people wanting more forever, and it would have been great. Because how many movies have they come out with since T2? And
the worst one was that one that had Matt Smith in it. That was so awful.
Oh, all of them were dog shit. Yeah, they were. I don't think there was any good movies after T2.
Oh God,
I can't remember them, so they couldn't have been that good. And I'll always remember T2. Like I remember the day I went to the theater and saw it. Like, there were people in the theater like cheering, like it was a movie that that summer.
I miss those days too, Will. I miss those days when people actually cheered in the movie theater, or they clapped after the movie was over with.
It was during the summer, and I saw it on a weekend. So it was a packed theater, and people were going nuts.
Did you see Star Wars back in 1977, 78?
No, it's weird. I actually didn't. Because I was only 2 in 77. So I think it was Empire Strikes Back I went to go see in the theaters, but I fell asleep during it. and then my
Uh-huh.
cousin ruined the reveal at the end because I missed it, and I didn't see it again until it came out on HBO. So
And
when it came out on HBO, and we didn't have HBO, my uncle had it, and he would just put blank tapes in the VCR for my dad and hit record for like 6 hours or whatever it would do on a tape. And so I had half of Empire Strikes Back for like the longest time. Um, I never had the complete movie until like video stores became popular. Well, actually, even video stores, they weren't even popular. Like the pharmacy in my town, like started a little rack, and you could rent movies from them. And then like the little convenience store had a little movie place, and then finally there was just whole movies. Video.
OBS wants to know if there's a worse or scarier monster than the alien, and Pope comes back with the thing.
The thing was
Perhaps,
awesome.
but OBS, if you like Alien, you need to meet my daughter, who is a total alien freak. She's got all this alien. She's got a life-size face hugger wrapped around her lamp in her living room.
Yeah. So, Bill, you saw Star Wars in the theaters, or
I did. My
okay.
mother took me to see it at the matinee in Clarksdale, Mississippi, probably in the spring of 1978. Because back in those days, the movie wasn't everywhere. The movie premiered in cities, and then it would travel around to the little theaters. Do you remember those days when you had to find out where the movie was playing and then go?
Certain theaters didn't have it. Yeah, there was kind of like 2 or 3 theaters within driving distance of my house.
You have to find it to watch it.
Yeah.
It wasn't mass distributed like it is today. In other words, this movie theater would have it for a little while, and then they would send it to another movie theater.
Yeah. You know what they did in the mid 80s by my house? We had like 3 or 4 theaters, but they were single screens. And then they divided it up and made like 4 screens out of the single room, like a top and bottom. And there were like these tiny like auditoriums, but they sucked. I hated those.
That was mostly Godzilla stuff that she took and Star Wars stuff. I did have those alien figures that came out. Did Kenner do those? I think Kenner did those. The Kenner alien figures.
They did those in the 90s, right?
Oh no, I'm talking about. Here I got Ripley back here. I don't have any of the aliens, but I've got Ripley back here, and I'll show you what I'm talking about. That'd be these figures here. Do you remember them? Those alien figures that this figure was a part of?
Yeah, weren't those in the 90s? They made those in the 80s? I don't remember.
I think they were the 80s or no, early 90s. Early 90s. They came out before my daughter was born, because I remember that I took some of my G.I. Joe figures and took them apart so that I could paint bloody stumps on their arms and on their knees because the alien was eating them. But I had a few of these. I had some of the alien figures, and I had Ripley was the only human I had out of the bunch. I had none of the Colonial Marines. But she absconded with my queen and my regular.
You know what? Aliens was also a really good sequel.
Aliens was better than
a really good sequel. I remember watching that with I think my friend's birthday party. We rented that, stayed up,
and Pope is correct. My daughter does. And Pope's been around my channel since the beginning, so he's seen this stuff. I don't know if you've been back that far or not, back when I first started live streaming, but we did a live stream with my daughter. She was at her house and I was here, and she took us on a tour of some of her alien stuff, and it's awesome.
Yeah. And then OBS says she liked Michael Fassbender as the android in Prometheus. I wonder why, OBS. I wonder why.
Well, you could continue to ponder that. The Marines one was the best, Space Marines.
I'm starting to think that if they put an attractive man in a movie, OBS likes it.
You might be on to something.
Yeah, she just said it. He's hot. Exactly. I knew it.
Yeah.
Can't blame her for that.
Yeah. Well, OBS likes Marines anyway. You know that her and Battlenaut are a thing, right?
I didn't know that. Oh.
Yeah, it's a long distance internet relationship, but
I see. I
it's a
see.
thing.
So if Battle Gnome was in a movie, she'd watch it no matter what.
Oh,
So
she
if
would
they
watch
remade,
Battle Gnome. If Battle Gnome were to be on television, she would watch Battle Gnome.
if Battle Gnome starred in the Cats live action, she'd like it.
Yes, just for Battle Gnome.
Of course not. I understand.
Well, no, we can't blame her for liking hot men because we do like hot ladies too. That's
Yeah.
correct.
It's just I just noticed that there's definitely a correlation between her liking a movie and
Yes, Pope.
the lead
That's what we're
man.
talking about there, brother. But yeah, let's see. We're about an hour 32. I'll stay on for another 30 minutes. But then I got to hit the bed. I have not been in the bed since 6 o'clock this morning. Will has gone off camera, turned his mic off, so I'll leave him up, but I'll go full screen for right now. We're getting kind of late here. Got me some coffee going. Let's see what folks are saying. Of course, that's why they are the lead men. Yeah, and Ticket says I have to sign off shortly. I know you're over there on Atlantic time, aren't you? Yeah, I know. Did I watch the new Avatar? No. I watched the first Avatar movie. I didn't watch it in the movie theaters. I rented it and brought it home and watched it here at the house. I liked it. I mean, it was okay, but no, I haven't seen the new one. Speaking of new movies that I've watched that I'll never be able to get that hour and a half or 2 hours, 2.5 hours, ever how long it was of my life back. I watched that Dwayne Johnson Black Adam movie. That was the shit. I hated that. James Bond, come on. Oh, Sean Connery was James Bond. All the rest of them just played him. Yeah. Pope hasn't seen it either. I got a feeling that you're probably going to be disappointed in it. It's probably not going to be your cup of tea. A lot of what's coming out now is just not good. Merry Christmas to you too, there, Ticket. Merry Christmas to you too. And OBS says it's almost 2 a.m. here. Yeah, it's almost 1 here. I think you're in Pennsylvania. So yeah, you're over there on Eastern time. And Superman got canceled. Well, we have to understand that the Superman that's being featured in DC Comics now is not Kal-El. It's Kal-El's son, Jonathan, I think is his name. And they made him gay and gave him a gay lover and all that. And he's now aged up to be the new Superman. And Kal-El, Clark Kent, is no longer in the picture much. So, and Henry Cavill, yeah. That Warner Brothers is going through some terrible upheavals right now. They've got a new master over there who has decided to save as much money as he can, cancel as much trash as he can, and they got James Gunn over there in charge of the DC Cinematic Universe or the Extended Universe, whatever they call it over there. And they've gotten rid of Henry Cavill. Gal Gadot's probably going to be out because Patty Jenkins can't get along with them, and that she wouldn't go along with what they wanted her to do with that. That's the showrunner for Wonder Woman. But Ezra Miller and all of his crazy goodness, he gets to keep his movie for some fucking reason. So I think we can expect a hard reboot of the DC Cinematic Universe here soon, and don't expect anything good out of it. It's probably going to be trashy. And I hope yes says I don't want to hear about that gay woke Superman. And Pope says he left The Witcher because they went woke, so they cut him from Superman. Yeah, but he's going to do Warhammer 40K for Amazon. So let's see how that goes. I don't have Amazon, so I don't know. Let me put you back up here.
Oh, sorry about that, Bill. Yeah,
that's all right. I took
dog had to go out.
Yeah. Chris Reeve was Superman, then Henry Cavill. That's it. Yeah, I kind of agree with that. But see, I'm a little older than you are, and I can remember George Reeves. They used to play reruns of the old George Reeves Superman television show right before Magic Land would come on Channel 5 on Sunday mornings. And for years and years, George Reeves to me was Superman. Christopher Reeve, though, he was the embodiment of the Bronze Age Superman. He looked just like him. And what we got here? OBS says, talking about I wouldn't watch the Batman because the whole premise is stupid. Superman can kill him in less than a second. So yeah, what that was they were trying to redo Dark Knight Returns, and you just can't do that without having a lot of backstory behind it. And it wasn't the time for that. And Babylon says, "I'll take one for the team and comfort Gal Gadot and her time." There you go. There you go. Oh, George Reeves was old school, and that pretty much was the embodiment of what Superman was to me before Christopher Reeve's first Superman the movie came out. Yeah, and yeah, Christopher Reeve had it going on. The problem with that was Christopher Reeve was also something wrong with him in the head. You know, Superman 3 was his baby, and by then the Salkinds were kind of done with it, and it ended up over there at that cheap movie studio that put out all that crap, and then so the special effects were crap. The original storyline got rewritten twice. Christopher Reeve's idea to have the nuclear missile part of it
Yeah.
out in space and all that.
Oh, I remember. Yeah, I remember it. And yeah, that's one of those things. Though I used to watch it anyway, even though I knew it was crap, but I would still just watch it because I just liked watching, any superhero movie.
Yeah, I've seen a few of those Lego movies. That's kind of hilarious. But we're going to get into Superman and Batman's relationship here towards the end part of this show here, Will, just for the sake of giggles and shits.
Yeah.
Superman's relationship with Batman, originally they were the best of friends, the world's finest.
Mm-hmm.
They met one another and they just clicked. It all started in the radio show, and that carried over into the comic books. And yeah, get you a toke off of that thing, but you can do it on camera, damn it. They were the best of friends. They were the best of friends. And for years and years and years, in spite of the fact that their methods were different. But even back then, Batman wasn't quite the character that he became later on. It was after Dennis O'Neil got a hold of him and decided to kind of bring him back to his roots. That's in the late 60s, early 70s, Bronze Age, I believe. They kind of redid Batman, kind of made it more noir, more detective, and kind of darker, just a little darker. By the time Crisis on Infinite Earths was over with, and the characters were settling down into the new one Earth that had been created from the Crisis, John Byrne was tapped to redo Superman. So he redid Superman all the way from the beginning. So Superman was a totally different kind of character in many, many ways, let's just say. But Batman, on the other hand, they didn't actually redo him as much. They did more of a soft reboot with Batman Year One. That would be Miller and Mazzucchelli, I think, was doing the art on that. And that was a wonderful series. Now, at that point, Byrne was redoing Superman in the Man of Steel miniseries, and they decided that because of Batman's methods versus Superman's methods, Batman seeks justice, Superman upholds the good. Superman is going to stay within the law when he does. He's like the ultimate face. Okay, Batman, on the other hand, is not a face, nor is he a heel. The ends justify the means for Batman, and it has to because he has no superpowers, right?
Yeah.
So it was determined that these characters weren't going to be friends because they're going to clash because of their methods. So that's when the idea that Batman and Superman not quite being friends came about, because with Superman's first interaction with Batman post crisis, he went to Gotham City to arrest him and take him to jail because he was still wanted by the law at that time. And it wasn't until Batman showed him why he was doing what he was and why it took those kinds of methods for the city that he lived in. As a matter of fact, the way Batman defeated Superman and stopped him from killing him was he said, "You use your vision. You can see that there's a force field around me, and if you break that force field, an innocent person will die." And that took Superman aback. He's like, "You wouldn't dare do something like that." And of course, Batman spoke the truth and said, "Yes, yes, I would." But it wasn't until the end of that interaction with them that the innocent person who would have died would have been Batman himself. And then it was at that point that Superman said, "Okay, I'll keep my eye on you." And he left.
And is that when Batman having a contingency for all situations started?
Well,
I think so.
kind of the beginning. It was kind of the
Yeah,
beginning of that. It was kind of the idea that Batman would use other people's weaknesses against them, even things that we don't
well, and that
necessarily consider a weakness. But yeah, but
kind of is what pitted them against each other in The Dark Knight was
the
uh,
Dark Knight was Miller's interpretation of what the end story of Batman would be. So
it
this
was
is
like kind of the end. Yeah, he's an
yeah,
old
this was
man,
the end. This was
but
a possible end
Superman
story.
is following the rule of law uh, and the corrupt government, but it's the rule of law. So he's just following it blindly, kind of. And Batman's critique of that is when, and that's what causes them to butt heads and to go at each other.
Well,
In that, right?
see, Batman in Batman Returns. Okay, it was a groundbreaking story for the time, and it was written to be dark. It was not written to be
Hmm.
even part of the actual storyline in the comics at the time. It wasn't even considered a possible ending of the
No,
Batman storyline until years later. It was just a standalone graphic novel, and at the time, graphic novels were something brand new. The
the
fact that
movie
go ahead,
wanted to capture
yeah.
that moment that was so exciting for all of us reading it when it came out, and just took like the just a very surface version of it and slapped it together in a really sloppy way for the movie because the movie really was stupid.
Yeah, well,
And
they wanted to skip to that because whoever I think it was Zack Snyder was enthralled by that story, and he just had to tell that story. That
yeah,
story, if you were going to tell that story, it either has to be a standalone movie with characters, uh, uh, actors playing them that aren't playing the young ones. They have to be old and they have to have been around. Because see, the story of Batman Returns was years after Batman had retired. He
yeah.
had retired for 10 years
Hmm.
from being a crime fighter, and he came back to fighting crime because of the emergence of one of his enemies there. Two-Face came back, and he came back and it was and then Superman, of course, he was an agent of the government. All superheroes had stopped operating because the government had outlawed superheroing. It was against the law to be a superhero unless you were an agent of the government. So Superman by this time was an agent of the government, and Ronald Reagan sent him to go stop Batman.
No. So Pope asked if the Dark Knight trilogy was shit to comic fans. No, I don't think so. I don't think
No,
it
the
was shit
Dark
to
Knight
them.
trilogy was fine. It was well within the spirit. I didn't
Yeah,
like the last movie. I didn't like the way it ended, but the first two movies were great. The one with the Joker was the shit. I liked it.
yeah. No, I
Yeah,
thought they
yeah.
were
And I
good.
don't blame you, Pope. I
Yeah, the
like.
last one was just I I don't know. It just didn't.
Well, it started out okay, but the thing with Bane They
Yeah,
kind of missed
he
the
wasn't.
mark a little bit with all that.
They did, and like but just a lot of the side plots and things like that just really didn't.
And I didn't like the
It
ending at
was,
all to it. I mean,
yeah,
I know where they were trying to go with that, and it just didn't
yeah.
really.
I didn't dig it. It really wasn't.
Uh,
Heath Ledger Joker was great. Yeah, yeah. The
yeah,
Bane one sucked.
yeah,
Yeah,
it sucked,
yeah.
unfortunately. And now here as we get into our last about 15 minutes of showtime here, let's talk about Pattinson's the Dark Knight movie, the or not Dark Knight, but the Batman. That's it, the Batman. Did you like the Batman?
Yeah,
Will?
and no, I was just thinking real quick there. There's parts about it that I really liked.
Mhm.
And I think the idea of it was really good. I like the themes. I
Uh,
don't think that Pattinson did a terrible job as Batman either.
no,
Um,
he did a better job
but
than I thought he would.
there is one glaring issue I
Two for
have with
me.
the movie.
Two for me,
One,
but go ahead.
one that nobody really else has really talked about, and that is this. It was supposed to be like more of a detective story.
Mhm.
When I've watched a lot of procedural cop dramas, and I think we all have.
Uh-huh.
Okay, let's just go back to the movie now, right? In the
Uh-huh.
beginning of the movie, Riddler sends them a picture, or he kills the mayor, and then he releases the picture that they had to thumb drive, and they stick it in there, and it releases this picture, and it's a photograph taken outside the club, and it shows the mayor with some floozy or something like that with some girls, right? And he's
Yeah.
out there doing no good, right? Okay, and that starts them off, and then they go on that. Um, they hunt everyone down. They find out about the penguin. They destroy like half the city. It's a cool vehicle chase scene, but if you ever notice, they blow up like all the stuff. They're jumping over stuff, wrecking stuff. And then when they meet up with the penguin, he's like, "It wasn't me." And they're like, "Okay, yeah, see you later." And they just leave. like it was so so much happened, and it was just so anticlimactic. It was just another guy. Anyway, at the end, right?
I
At
had a
the
problem
end,
with the Riddler in a gimp mask. I had a problem with that. That's
yeah.
not.
So at the end, um, the Riddler doesn't even get caught. He's just down at the diner or whatever, right? And they catch him, and then they're going through his apartment. And Gordon says to Batman, he was right here the whole time in an apartment across the street from the club where the photo was taken. He has a tripod in his window. So any good detective would look at a
Yeah, they
photograph
would
and
have
go,
triangulated that and
wait,
said that.
where was this taken from? Oh, that window right up there? Oh, let me go knock on the door and see if anyone saw anything. Oh shit. He lives here. like, like it was just like for a detective story, he's using this technology where he's got a contact lens where he could see through Catwoman's eyes
Well,
and all this high tech stuff, but they didn't do a
Will.
yeah.
Let's put a pin in that for just a minute, and let's go back here to what Pope brings up a very good, interesting point. So why are we going to make Batman's parents bad guys now for some reason?
Because it was just
Thomas
stupid.
Wayne was supposed to be the pinnacle of good in
Yeah,
society. He was,
yeah.
and now we've got to make him have some sort of
Well, that's
dark.
also kind of a dipshit. Like the fact that this guy was like an accountant and saw like, oh, I saw the crimes, the real stories of all these wealthy elites and people that thought were screw you. So then you like, I don't know, just whatever. It's just a stupid like trajectory for the Riddler to go on.
Yeah, well, see,
Like
my Batman is Bronze Age Batman, always will
yeah.
be. No movie that comes out is going
But
to.
they were all corrupt, and then the Waynes did bad stuff. Like it wasn't necessary at all, and it
No.
didn't. I don't know. I don't think it justified.
Batman's parents were not corrupt individuals.
No,
They were very loving parents. Their death impacted Bruce Wayne to the point where he decided to dedicate his life to fighting crime. He
yeah, and
went.
didn't they insinuate that like he was involved. He got involved with the mob, and that's like why he got killed. And it wasn't just a random mugging because
Yeah, yeah,
Gotham
that was
had turned
implied in
into
in
such
the
a
Batman. I kind of and I
yeah,
kind of didn't like that, but
yeah.
there were parts of that
I
that,
also
that
didn't
I
like
liked.
the relationship between Catwoman and her supposed father or whatever it was. Like it just all that stuff seems stupid and unnecessary.
Well, I'll tell you one thing though that I kind of wish that never happened, and Frank Miller is squarely to blame for this. And it actually started in Dark Knight Returns was making Selena Kyle into a prostitute. I'm sorry. Selena
Yeah,
Kyle is not a prostitute. She is a cat burglar. She loves her
exactly.
diamonds. She is
Yes,
a diamond thief.
that's
A
a
thief.
cool character. Yes. Yeah.
I don't like the idea of making her a former prostitute or a dominatrix or anything like that.
Yeah.
Why do we have to? I know sex sells. I know it, but why are we putting that into what's supposed to be wholesome entertainment that we don't mind our children
And
reading?
here's the thing: is a villain, a cat burglar, is someone who you don't necessarily. They're not. They're unlawful. They're thieves, and we don't like thieves. But they target
They're not
usually
murderers.
no.
Catwoman was never a murderer. She didn't
She's
kill people.
as a criminal. She is someone that you could see Batman siding with. She lives. She only steals from the wealthy because she does it in a sophisticated manner. You know what I mean? So um, yeah, yeah.
And
There's no.
Screw Your Fears says SJW weenies want to ruin everything from the past and make it trash for themselves.
Yeah, I think so.
It's a little deeper than that. Screw Your Fears. It's a little deeper than that.
Well, I think specifically with the parents being like exposed as being bad because you have to kill the past or basically whatever. I don't want to get into it, but it's like
Well,
there's a problem with
we don't have
anything.
time to get into it because today's show we got about 5 minutes of show left, and
Yeah.
this could be a show in and of itself to talk about why pop culture is
So
under the
in
gun.
summary, though, the Batman could have been a much better movie. I think they spent too much time on plot devices and things and character developments that they didn't need to. And had they just focused a little more on just taking some points from procedural crime dramas and had him working the scenes and doing the detective work more, it would have made for a much better movie.
Well, I agree with you. That was one of that was one of the two things that I was going to get to. The two things that I disliked about the Pattinson Batman movie was one, they turned the Riddler into a masked gimp man, and that's not the Riddler. The Riddler's vain. He wears a hat, a
Oh
bowler
yeah,
hat. He wears
yeah.
the suit and tie. Sometimes he wears the tights and the mask, but he's not. He's not. It's not going to be a gimp mask. It's going to be a domino mask if he ever wears one. Sorry, folks. The other thing was, I was led to believe I was going to watch a almost Law and Order like procedural crime drama with Batman in it, and I didn't see that at all.
Which I was gonna say is kind of the problem today too. Is like, so like Pope was saying, he agrees, with some of the points we made, but he still liked it. He thought it was pretty dang good. It
Yeah,
definitely had good stuff about it, but um, they shouldn't have hyped it up that way because my brain went off on, and I was imagining this really deep detective story. Um, really, like I was expecting something Sherlock Holmes like, or something
yeah,
of any of that,
exactly.
caliber, and they really didn't do that at all. And that's kind of the problem I had with it was because I guess anticipating a
Yeah.
detective story, and that's not what we got. So I was let down.
And Pope says, yeah, they had to make him kind of edgy.
Yeah,
Well,
you're not my dad's
that's
line.
part of every movie now. Everything
I
has to
hated
be
that.
edgy. Why does it
Yeah,
have to be edgy? Why can't it just be entertaining?
when he
But
turns and tells Alfred, "You're not my dad," I didn't like that.
no, uh, the relationship between Batman and Alfred has changed over the years. I will admit. if we go back to the golden age, Alfred did not raise Batman. He just kind of showed up on the scene one day, but that changed. And to the Alfred that we know today, who basically raised Bruce Wayne after the parents were murdered, and one of the things about Alfred being snarky towards Batman, of course, that all started once again by Frank Miller in The Dark Knight Returns. But Alfred's relationship with Batman is a whole lot deeper than anything we've ever seen in the movies, and the only way to describe that is it is a father-son relationship. But Alfred is a gentleman's gentleman. He is a butler, and English butlers go to, I don't know, they go to butler school. They have to learn how to be what they are, and they will always be that towards whoever it is that they're employed by. And so you've got that relationship going on as well. So there's a lot more involved in Alfred and Batman's relationship than we've ever seen in any of the movies.
Yeah, definitely agree with you. But yeah, those are definitely good points. And we talked about a couple things that could be shows in themselves tonight. So that was really cool. That was a lot of fun. And thank you for sharing your vast knowledge of Tarzan and Batman.
It's been a fun night. And OBS has been watching the Basil Rathbone Sherlock Holmes movies, and those are some good movies. We could have another whole show on just those. But tonight we're going to feed the ducks real quick, and then it's going to be time to go to bed. So, Will, I enjoyed having you on the show today. I'm going to say goodbye to everyone that's in the chat with us right now.
Yep. Merry Christmas, everyone.
Glad y'all came by. We'll do it again sometime. I don't know when I'm probably not going to live stream tomorrow. I just don't think I'm going to have a chance to. It's Christmas Day. But I will say this. If you want to watch something tomorrow, I know that there's several YouTube channels that are going to be doing Christmas Day shows. Ironhead Jim's going to be over on Twitch playing video games. I'm probably going to go over there and bug him a little bit. But good night, everybody. Remember, together we shall triumph. Special thanks to these supporters on Patreon. Without your help, these adventures would not be possible. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed today's adventure, please hit like and subscribe and share the video.